Hey everybody, welcome back to the 153rd episode of Taps and Patience. I'm AJ with Subtract Manufacturing and Audacity Micro, here with Harrison of Precision Ingenuity. How you doing, Harrison?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, AJ?
I am doing fine.
Doing fine. That was a dramatic moment right there.
Sure, Harrison.
So what's going fine in your world then, I guess?
So we haven't talked about ADHD in a while.
Huh?
This week. Yeah. This week was the second time where I've noticed this happens. Like, this is just a thing that happens to me where I had a super, super busy week. Actually, I had like 3 super, super busy weeks. And then the busyness ended. And then I would have just been incapable of getting anything done. And I know from past experience that like it takes me a week and then I can start being productive again. But there have been multiple times where I've just been like sitting at the computer trying to get stuff done and made little to no progress.
Gotcha.
But there were some things I did get done though, at least. And first day with new intern for Audacity.
Oh, how'd that go?
Really, really well. So he has no classical machining experience. However, he is a knife maker. And he's working for somebody else, but like he works on a piece rate. He works on his own time. And he also sells knives on his own. So like he knows how to work independently. He understands metal. He understands tools. He had a basic foundation in measuring. Like it was about as easy of a he had about as good of a background as you could possibly get to teach somebody machining without them already having a machining background.
Nice.
So I went on to the Little Blue website and I picked 2 really easy Delrin jobs. And we got all the way through one of them. It was 12 pieces total, 3 different designs, 4 pieces each. And we got through that one. And then there was another job that was a little bit more complicated. And that one we got, I think, 2 or 3 parts in. And then we were out of time for the day. So we also started the day off with some like lean improvement time. And kind of, I got him trained in how I wanted to do that.
What's the age range of this guy, of this intern?
I did not ask him his age because I don't think I'm allowed to. But he's probably 22 in that area. So I believe he has an associate's in like industrial engineering or something like that.
So
I could look at his resume. I don't remember.
Graduated from university or in university?
I believe he got it through like a dual credit system in high school, or like he did most of his credits in high school and then took another like couple classes to get his associates, something like that.
Gotcha.
I really did not focus on his education much. I don't care much about formal education for someone coming into my shop, but
yeah,
he did really well. Like I was very happy. We found some weaknesses in some of my systems. We found that a bunch of my systems work pretty well. So we got a job done in a half. So I technically made a profit on him. I could have made more money by myself, but like, even with him there, we made more money than he cost for the day. So
now, was he a Patreon? Did you find him through that, or
no?
How did you find him?
There is a like local Muncie Facebook group, and I posted in there.
Oh, nice.
Like, hey, anyone interested in a internship? The deal is it's 3 months, once a week, $20 an hour. So it's a kind of limited time thing. Like there's no obligation on either of us. Though when we get out of it, I may or may not offer him maybe not a full-time job, but a regular part-time deal, depending on how well he does and how well it goes.
Gotcha.
But the the point of the intern is to, one, test to see if Audacity is ready for an employee, and then two, to kind of stress test the Subtract manufacturing system, or whatever we call it today, just like the procedures that we're putting in place. So we followed like our quality documentation and like wrap stuff up towards the shipping, or following the shipping standards.
Gotcha.
But I also have like there's Subtract requirements, and then there's Subtract best practices. Obviously, the requirements are required, and they're relatively sparse. We let us shops have a huge amount of latitude on how they do things, but then we have the Subtract recommendations, and those get quite a bit more specific. So, like, I'm working on our lean recommendations, and shops can use that or not. But like, as a perk of being a Subtract shop, you have access to, well, eventually when we're done, you'll have access to what's essentially a franchise model. That's my goal.
Now, how do people, as you've been building all these systems, how do shops on your network access them? Is this just like a file download to an Excel or Word or PDF document? Like, how do people get this information?
So right now, our best practices, we really don't have in any one place at all. Our requirements we have posted in the Discord, and they will be on our website soon if they're not already. And they'll probably also get an email in the near future. We need to update our paperwork. We have several shops that joined before our shop agreement was written. And so we need to make sure everyone signed our shop agreement. And we just need to make sure everyone has the most recent version of the paperwork. So everyone will get an email soon.
Gotcha.
Subtract. Let me see what's on there. I think it might only be the shop agreement that's on there right now. Yep. Okay. We need to do some website updating. The answer is we don't have good systems for that yet, but we're getting there.
I've noticed on your website, when you have people fill out something, you have like a random equation at the bottom. Has that done a good job of filtering out like spam?
It does a better job than you would think.
So does it not submit to you if they don't answer it, or does it just a red flag that, that's spam?
I think it won't even let you hit send.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just a very rudimentary CAPTCHA to make sure it's a person. I did get someone. Oh, what was it? I got a very funny spam message today. It's like, why in the world would you email a manufacturing company about it was like a treadmill or something? But it keeps the bulk of it out.
Well, we had some spam, or some attempted like nefarious reach out where
Phishing?
Yeah, phishing. And they sent a message, and the message that they sent kind of sounded like it was written by AI. It had just a hint of that tone to it. And so I kind of wondered. And so I replied back, and they did send an email to the email that I told them to, but then it was a PDF. And then when you open the PDF, the PDF had a link to something else. And so it was
you should not have opened that PDF. Never open a PDF that you don't trust, because there's a lot of exploits that come through PDF.
Well, I wasn't sure at that point if I could trust it, or like I just assumed it was at that point. Like my guard went up whenever I opened up the PDF, and the PDF had a link to another thing. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. So
I would be nervous having just opened that PDF, and I would run something like Malwarebytes just for funsies.
So, PDF, I looked it up. That particular scheme, opening the PDF is fine. It's if you click on the link in the PDF. Because what that is that link, by being inside a PDF, it bypasses a lot of the spam and whatnot. So, like, clicking on the PDF is fine. You just don't click on the link in the PDF. So,
there are lots of things you can do just to a naked PDF, though, that don't require human interaction after opening the PDF.
I guess I'd have to go look, but
so public service announcement to everyone out there: don't open random files that people sent you.
Well, it's kind of hard when you ask people to send you
I
drawings.
know that's true.
Everything's in a PDF. Like all their drawings are in PDF. So like I'm gonna click on it in a way.
One thing you can do is go open it on like your iPhone. Might be a little bit safer.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, like having like a virtual machine or something that I can open stuff in on my computer.
There's also like Virus Total where you can upload a file to it and it'll tell you if it's, it matches any known malware.
Yeah. But anyways, adding a little capture like that to our website to kind of filter that kind of stuff out is something I was thinking about this week.
Yeah.
So
I assume the one we have is just a standard WordPress thing. I don't think Scott like coded that.
Because I think we get more people reaching out than we get more spam than legit feeds through our website.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And so we do need to add some sort of a CAPTCHA.
I don't think we've ever gotten a spam through the Subtract RFQ form. I wonder if that's because it's like it's a iframe that goes to an Airtable form for now. And I wonder if just like the spam bots don't pick that up or if Airtable has some way of knowing. But pretty soon here, it'll be all native as Jacob gets SERP form capable. I know that's on our roadmap. I think we have a few other things first, but like email communications built in and stuff like that.
How's Subtract going?
It's going pretty well. This month has been a little bit slower than last month, but we've still done a ton of work and a ton of parts. We need to keep adding more shops. We keep having all of our vendors be completely at capacity. Some from us, some not. So I suppose that's a good thing. The more shops we add, even if like all of the shops don't have a huge amount of time available, like the more shops we have, the more likely it is somebody is able to, jump on a job right away and take it. But I don't know, jobs have been rolling in. I really need to make some YouTube videos because YouTube videos are still our best form of marketing. I think I mentioned we brought on Josh as a full-time sales role guy, but he's still kind of working on getting spun up. He doesn't quite have, all the quoting stuff down. He doesn't quite have, the full background in Subtract, and that'll just take time. But YouTube videos, we publish YouTube videos and we get RFQs, both immediately and then for weeks or months to come. So that's the best thing I could be doing right now. But we have 6 jobs that are in production right now, and it looks like a couple that are shipped. 7 jobs that are in production right now.
So how do you know if a shop is a good fit for Subtract? Do you base it based off the work that you got coming in and looking for capacities? Do you base it on number of employees? Do you base it on reputation?
In terms of when we take a new shop into the network?
So let's just say you're at capacity and you're looking to add a shop. What do you look for in that moment when you're looking to add someone?
Right now, we do it based off of community and ability to communicate. So we have our Subtract Discord. There's 3 different layers to that. There's a layer that's, I don't want to say open to the general public, but it's open to the wait list of shops that have applied to become a vendor. The shops that are, then after that, we have the active vendor section. That's where our job board is. That's where, we will be able to talk about jobs. Like if someone has a question about their job, like they get a job specific channel. And that's where we post recommendations. Before I posted all of these new quality standards, we put them in there for like an open comment period before we adopted them. That kind of happens in there. And then there's the administrative section that's like just me, Josh, Jacob, Scott, other Josh. And I think that's it. But the shops that participate in the community section of the Discord are the first ones we go to because we have gotten to know them. They've put the effort in to kind of be part of the community, and they've proven that they can communicate. So that's right now where we're pulling from. Eventually, at this rate, we will have pulled all of those shops in, and we'll have to do a little bit more, kind of nudging to get people in there.
Mm-hmm.
But like every time we send out a newsletter, we're really clear that like, hey, if you want to jump the line, go participate in the Discord. And 9 times out of, well, actually, I think 100% of the time, when we have added a new shop so far, it's been because we have a job that we don't have capacity for. So we'll jump into that Discord and be like, hey, who wants it? And we'll just take whatever shop has the capability of doing that at that moment. So it's a little bit of luck, just making sure you're in the Discord at the right time. We were just talking about, not being behind the curve as generally is a good strategy. So we're going to start taking shops in at a steady rate, maybe 1 a week right now, maybe 2 a week. But like all of our vendors are booked right now. I don't know if manufacturing is just super busy at the moment because of like the Iran stuff, or it's we just don't have enough capacity in general. I don't know. But we need a couple more shops on the network like now to make sure we have extra capacity.
Gotcha.
So
makes sense.
And there's a couple things on my plate subtract-wise. So right now I'm working on revamping quoting. Our first system is really it's really good 85% of the time, and 15% of the time it's terrible, and it's really fast. But I want to make it really good 100% of the time, maybe at a cost of being a little bit slower. But I've been working on version 2.0, which we should talk about. I want to talk about quoting theory some. And then the next thing I'm working on is like onboarding and selecting shops, trying to systematize that a little bit more. We talked about doing a test part. We're not convinced on that one yet. We're not quite sure how we're going to handle that yet. But there's a lot of maturity we have there. I do think I will make a shop tour part of that. My theory is if your shop looks like a dungeon, then you're not the right shop for Subtract. If you can't keep your own shop organized, then I don't trust you to keep your, inspection equipment in good shape, and your, I don't trust you to be organized enough to be able to be at the Subtract standards. Yeah. What do you think about test part?
I think a test part can show a lot about a shop, but it also is them putting their best foot forward. So it's not a foolproof method, but I think it is a quick and dirty way to at least make sure that if they're trying, they can do what they say they can do.
Yeah.
And then at that point, if they're failing afterwards, it's not a capabilities problem. It's a personnel problem.
Yeah.
So
I hate asking shops to do something when we don't have an obligation to each other yet.
The only thing, the only other alternative I would say to that is, do you have any of them ship their parts to you before the customer?
At the moment, only if I am doing the finishing. So, like, we don't have like a trial period like Xometry does, and maybe that is the smarter route over doing a test part.
Yeah, I would say you need to have a sampling of their parts go into you guys instead of doing a test part, and you have to validate that those parts are good. And that would be the equivalent of a test part, but it would still be on a customer's job. And then I would prioritize simpler jobs and make sure that you build up your trust, build up a trust score or a capability score of some kind for that shop that you're onboarding.
Yeah. Right now, we don't have any sort of score system. We've talked about it basically because Xometry has it. And I understand why it's attractive, but it also feels a little confrontational or derogatory against the shop. And it's not like we allow quality issues.
Well, let me ask you this. What's the point of grades in school?
To make you try harder.
not just to make you try harder, so you know where you're at.
I mean, yeah, true.
I mean, have you ever had a teacher in school that didn't grade any of your papers till the end of the year, and you had no idea how you were actually doing?
No, and there is probably a good reason for that.
Because
But
I've had teachers at university who, you know, you get to midterms and nothing's graded, and you have no idea what your standing is in the class at all. And you start freaking out because you're like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? And then because you have no history of that, if a problem does arise, then that's kind of your first indication that something's wrong.
my counter argument would be, and this is actually something that we should ask our network if they want, because if they want it, then it's an easy decision. But in school, like the point of the school is to make you a better student and to teach you whatever the thing is.
Mm-hmm.
The point of subtract is not to teach you machining. The point of subtract is for, well, like your relationship with the subtract network as a shop is that you deliver outstanding parts every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And like you already know what an outstanding part is if you're on the network. And if you don't know, then you shouldn't be on the network.
Yeah, but if I'm making a part and everything's to spec, there's 100 different ways I can make that part, and they all could lead to different looking parts. And they could all be technically in spec and be a wide range of, shiny, looks like a diamond, to looks like absolute booty hole, but is technically in spec on everything to the print. And having that gambit of quality could still be scored, even if it is meeting what you're wanting it to meet. They could still have a score as to how well they're actually doing. Are they right on that line where the stuff they're producing, because you got to have a definitive, this is good, this is bad, but you also got to have, there's stuff that's better and worse still.
But how would you measure that? If everything went through me, sure, that's something that I could measure. But most jobs we never see or interact with again.
So let me ask you another question then. How do you know when to confront a shop? Is it only when a customer starts yelling?
Or if they ship late, yeah. That's the only thing that we can really monitor. Because otherwise, we ask for pictures, but then it just becomes a competition of who's better at taking pictures.
Well, that's where you start doing spot checks. And
by sending them to me?
Yeah. So random generator of, within 1 in every 10 parts or 1 in every 10 jobs or, some sort of random number generator, you're going to check if you got an average of, 20 jobs a month coming through, you want to have 3 of those jobs are going to swing by your shop and you're going to validate that everything's doing good. And then you can grade those shops and you go, listen, we like this, we don't like this, your shipping was this. And you can grade them on a bunch of stuff and give them helpful feedback before customers start yelling. Because if your customers aren't going to go, they're not going to call you until there's a problem that's so big that shop is going to get either kicked off the network or there's going to be a hard conversation of some kind.
I'm not opposed to that on principle. I have to think about that, but they would know that they were shipping to me.
Well, unless you wait until they're ready to ship, and do you give them a label up front? Do they?
It's on the purchase order. They print the label. They get a purchase order that has the shipping address.
Unless you hold label until their job is complete, and then you
don't buy the label. They make the label.
I know, but you can still hold the address. You can still say, "Hey, when job's complete, let me know, and we'll give you the address."
Sure. We just have to give them a PO with no shipping address, which I'm sure we can do.
Yeah,
but except then they would notice that it didn't have the shipping address.
Yeah, unless you did that on everything.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's weird.
It's not weird. It's what Xometry does. If you're talking about,
Xometry's weird. And Xometry gives you the label.
Yeah, but I'm not okay. The point is it needs to be random to the point where the shop is not trying to do something special for you. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be a random spot check.
We could do a change order at the end, basically.
Yeah, but you'd have to know before they shipped it.
Yes. They do tell us before they ship it, but it'd have to be before they buy the label. Otherwise, you're just wasting money.
Yeah. That, or you guys or you guys set up a system where you're buying the label like Xometry, where they tell you the size, weight of the box, and then they get a label at that point.
That might happen in the future. Right now, our thought process of not buying the label is, one, it lets the shop choose if they choose FedEx or UPS. I know in my area, shipping UPX is a pain, but FedEx is really easy for me.
Does the customer have any input on what their preferred shipping vendor is?
They could request if they wanted to, but I haven't had a customer do that once.
Okay.
Maybe it's just because we've never given them the option, but like no one's written it in the notes or anything like that.
Yeah, because you could have something that's like a preferred shipping vendor, and you could have shops with preferred shipping vendors.
Yeah, that's true. The reason we just like give the shop a little bit of an allowance in the job for the label is because it allows the shop to ship the job sooner for cheaper shipping.
Mm-hmm.
Or because we don't give the shop a ship date, we give them a delivery date.
Do you have a credit for how much the shipping is for the shop? Is that included in the job?
We track it, but we don't. It's just lumped into the PO.
Okay,
the shop doesn't have it broken out.
Okay, so the shop is incentivized to go with the cheapest option they can do.
Yes, which has the side benefit of they're aiming to get it done in time for ground shipping, so it'll be cheap, which gives them some margin if they end up late, where they can ship it, next day air at the cost of an extra, $75 or whatever it is. That's our theory.
Okay. If they ship it ground and it arrives late,
then the job's late.
Okay. Do you have anything in there for like natural disasters or, it gets lost in shipping?
Yeah, we're small enough that we're humans handling the situations, and they don't get a score. No, yeah, like basically that's just human grace at that point, because it's not all automated. And like, yeah, if you shipped it and then a plane crashes in Tennessee and your package disappears, we'll obviously work something out there.
Do you send the shipping tracking number to the customer as soon as it ships?
Yes. This is actually probably something we're inconsistent at. I think sometimes those do get missed, but Jacob is fixing that with SERP soon.
Okay. So at the very least, you're going to get a tracking, I'd have them submit a tracking number before they ship.
Yeah. We get a tracking number. We do require that. And that does get entered into SERP so that it's connected to the job. I suspect we've probably missed sending that to a customer a couple times, which is really bad and is something we need to fix. But that's one of the reasons why we brought on Josh, because Josh is a sales professional where I am worse than amateur. So he can provide some of it. Like he is covering my gaps in skills. Jacob I don't think has those same gaps, but he's busy doing other things. So Josh is very much complementing the things that I am terrible at by plugging those holes.
Fair enough. Okay, well, I think I'm done grilling you for Subtract for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, we still have a long way to go. We have a lot to figure out, a lot to get better at, a lot that we can get away with when we are, doing 8 orders a week or 10 orders a week. But if we were doing 100 orders a week, like having to manually send the tracking information to the customer for 7 orders a week, not bad. Having to do that for 100, and like 99% of those are going to get missed. Because right now there's no prompt, there's no system. You just kind of have to know to do it. And like, I don't know, that works a little while you have really good people. But as soon as the load gets too much, or you have to start having just average people in, that falls apart really quickly. So
And
eventually SERP will be able to handle emails.
And all of your conversations are done via email to the shops
with our
and
customer.
To shops and customer.
Almost zero emails with the shops. Okay. That is handled via Discord.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Our Subtract runs on Discord. You have no idea. All of our conversation, all of our meetings, everything is on Discord. With the exception of onboarding shops, which we do via Google Meet because they're not in our Discord yet to onboard them. That's part of onboarding is getting them in the Discord. But we create a specific channel for each job. So we have a running conversation history. Their pictures get uploaded into that, their inspection report, their tracking number, any questions they have, that all goes in that Discord channel. So we have that record. And it's also much faster because basically Jacob, Josh, or I are always on Discord. One of us is on Discord, especially since Jacob and I are 3 or 4 time zones removed from each other.
Interesting.
And when the job's done, that gets archived. We still have every single job channel around. And then we pull all the important stuff out of that and stick it on SERP, the inspection report and the photos and the tracking number when those come in. But
that is a really wild way to run a business like that.
So lots of businesses run on Slack. And Discord is just slightly more informal Slack.
I know. It's just, yes, but that's usually within the same company. That's not communications with multiple other shops.
Fair.
That's when things like email takes over, or having a built-in system like Discord built into your SERP, where you're not
relying. Which will happen eventually.
Yeah,
but the community aspect of it is huge.
Mm-hmm.
The ability for one shop to help another shop out, either by offloading some parts or by just offering advice, is really big.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some value to that you wouldn't get through traditional email. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you're creating a channel for every single job, eventually that's going to become a nightmare. I think. I feel like it is, but maybe not. I could be wrong, but
yeah. Let me pull up my spreadsheet here. So to hit $1 million in revenue, oh, that's weird. I changed our milestones. $1 million in revenue would be 84 a month, right? Oh, yeah. 84 a month. That is roughly 38 jobs per month. So starting and stopping 1 and a bit Discord channels per day.
Mm-hmm.
And these numbers are actually based off of slightly older data, where our average job size was smaller. Our average job size has grown a little bit. I think this math was based off of, what's 84 divided by 38? Yeah. So this was based off of an average job size of around $2,500, $2,200. And I'd have to re-math, but I think we're closer to $4,000 now. So we can get fairly big with our current systems without it being too much of a headache. Could we do $5 million a year like this? No. But we could, double in size without too much issue. So, but we need to get really rolling with our sales stuff. We need to get, YouTube videos rolling consistently. We need to clarify some of our quality stuff and, get all that stuff really nailed down. Build a real onboarding process.
Fair enough.
But I think we've been profitable every single month since we started. So
that's good.
We haven't grown every month, but we've been profitable.
That is always a plus.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that was pretty much my highlights. I found a robot that I'm looking at.
Another one?
Well, yeah, that 3R system got snapped up before I could buy it. But I found a traditional UR robot that's pretty cheap and it's not too far away, that I am thinking about grabbing, because it would be a little bit more expensive than all the stuff I would have to buy for pallet switching with the gimbal system. And if I had a UR instead of 9 pallets or whatever, I could get like a lot. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm still thinking about that.
And I hear you might be getting rid of a machine.
I have listed the OM for sale. I am not exactly at fire sale pricing. In fact, I'm sure I'm asking more than it's worth, but we'll see if anybody takes it. I'm not a super motivated seller at the moment, but if somebody were to take it, yeah, sure. And that becomes, a robot or a lathe, maybe, as much as I hate the L word.
So have you just decided that it's no longer worth hanging on to that machine? Like, what was your thought process between why you've been hanging on to it and why you decided to finally sell it?
Because everybody's been yelling at me for not using the machine, and I don't want to use it unless I really have to.
And why is that?
Because it's annoying.
Why is that?
Because it's not the Tormach controller, and my work holding's not all the same for it.
Fair enough.
So I have an Aroa base for it, but like Saunders plate plus Aroa base adapter plus Aroa base plus vise is like 10 inches tall or something, and I just don't have enough travel to use it most of the time, or Z travel. And I don't know. I'm so used to how quick and easy it is to use the Tormach controller and like being able to post code straight to it instead of having to use a thumb drive and wah. All the things that is very normal with other machines, I cry about. So if someone wants to give me a good deal for it, I would take it. I have a couple conversations going with people on Marketplace that seem fairly legitimate, and lots of people just wanting to buy my carbide. Apparently, if you post a mill on Facebook, everybody just wants your box of carbide.
Is that because of how expensive it is right now?
Yeah, last I saw, it was at like $52 a pound.
Oh, geez.
Which carbide is dense. So that's like, it doesn't take that much to get, 40 or 50 pounds of carbide. I need to weigh my box, but I think it's about 40 pounds. It might be like 30. So I don't know. That could pay for a gimbal system.
Yeah.
But so yeah, intern, making easy parts, working on quoting. Oh, so here's the main thing I'm changing on quoting. Most of it is largely straightforwards, where like, Toolpath figures out how long it takes to cut the part, and we estimate the stock size and have a idea of how much material costs, like multiply it out, all that stuff pretty easy. But I am working on adding a risk score and a complexity score to each part. And I was thinking risk would be a multiplier that was applied to the material cost, and then complexity is a multiplier that is added to the estimated labor.
So here's another thing scoring could help you with, is knowing which jobs are good for which shops.
That is also something that I have thought about, and I think we just don't have enough data at this point.
Yeah, but that's just another thing to think about, because you want your shops to be successful.
Yes.
So you don't want them taking on things that they're right at the edge of their comfort level and then have them failing and then get kicked off the network because of that.
Yeah. We want things comfortably below their comfort level. And I mean, there's kind of a bet, like the goal of our quotes is for, it to be like a little bit below the customer's comfort level on price, like where they, it's kind of like right to the edge of where it's painful. We want to be right below the painful edge with the customer price. We want the shop to look at it and go, well, that's a pretty good deal. And if we can hit both of those points, that's where we win.
Mm-hmm.
If the customer's looking at it and going, wow, yes, then we underbid. If the customer's looking at it and going, yeah, I'm going to go with someone else, then we overbid, obviously. And I mean, obviously, we want the shops to be excited to take subtract work. But I don't know. For example, on a job that we did, we overestimated the like a third party service by $14,000 on this job or something like that. And so the shop made $14,000 more than we expected. And I would have liked to keep a little bit of that. But I don't know.
That's how it goes.
It is what it is. So we still got our cut. The customer's happy. The shop is really happy. But it's just all finding that balance.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to quoting, risk and complexity. Risk is for materials. Complexity is for human time spent. Like that's how we're weighting it or how we're going to like multiply things. Does that make sense to you? Or should it all just be against like the total job cost?
It makes sense because we do something kind of like that on our own. Whenever we're quoting, we don't have a formal way or a formal location to put that in though.
Yeah. One of the reason this is coming up is like the old way we did quotes, we had several things that could multiply the price. So it'd be like, the cost estimate out of toolpath. And then like, your tolerances would be a multiplier on top of that. And then like the part complexity would be a multiplier on top of that. And then like your lead time would be a multiplier on top of that. And you could end up basically like cubing the material cost. So if the material was really expensive to begin with, then like you're cubing that by the time you get to the end, and suddenly it's ridiculous.
That's where you don't need to. You need to add all of the values together and do one multiplication. So instead,
that would.
So if you start out with a value of 1, where it's a simple part, simple material, simple everything, and then as part complexity goes up, say that adds 5%, and then say material risk adds another 5%. Instead of doing 5% and then multiplying that new value times another 5%, you multiply it by 10 once, or some factor like that. Instead of everything multiplying and continuing to go up.
The reason I was separating them out or trying, like one of the things I was trying to conquer is like, okay, let's say you're making parts out of like a 1-inch cube of aluminum. Stock is like, 30 cents or something like that. Versus we have a job right now that's like twisted titanium Damascus rod, and the stock is like $1,500 a foot or just something ridiculous. And like even multiplying the material price by 2, like, which would not be a very big multiplier with our current system, like that wouldn't be fair for the person making the aluminum part, because they're getting an extra like 65 cents versus the person making the titanium Damascus part, they're getting a whole lot more money.
Yeah. That's where you would do percentages. So you wouldn't ever give, at least whenever we're doing stuff, if I'm doing one part and there's a high risk, I might do 40% extra material charge, but I'm not putting enough on there to cover a full another piece, unless I know for sure I'm going to scrap a piece and I need an extra.
Yeah.
But I don't build that into my price.
Because you're taking that risk, you're betting 4 to 6 that you're going to get it right on the first try.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's kind of what this factor is trying to account for.
Yeah. But the math game is a lot easier if I'm doing 10 and then I need one extra piece of material. So that's 1/10 extra increase.
Well, and that was actually something that was going to be my next question is, should we decrease risk as quantity increases? Because the cost of failing one piece is proportionately much less.
Yeah, that's how we do it. I mean, so like if I got 100 pieces, I'll calculate 105 pieces of material, or 100 and 3 pieces of materials worth, and I'll base it off of that. And then that's just an additional, you know, uh, I'll usually end up buying that extra material enough to have that on hand in case anything goes sideways. And we usually end up using, one piece, at least one piece on larger orders like that. And then we might have one or two left over at the end, and then that just goes on the shelf and can be used for other work.
So as the quantity increases, should the complexity score go up or down?
It should. Well, that's a good question. It depends on the volume, because I think it should always go down, I guess, unless there's a very specific scenario where it goes up. So I'll give you an example. In almost all the high volume work that we do, once we have a good process figured out, it pretty much just runs on its own. The only time where, let me rephrase that, it either needs to go down or stay the same. I don't think it should ever go up.
Okay, that's fair.
Because some of the medical parts that we're doing, they have that, they're a hardened 50 Rockwell, and we have to check constantly on the job. It doesn't make the complexity go down, but it doesn't make it go up either. It just makes it stay flat. So it doesn't really matter the volume you're doing. I have to be over there and watching it constantly to make sure it stays in the right range. And if it goes outside of that range, I start doing stuff really, really bad, it means there's something wrong with my process. Not necessarily, and so it's not a complexity, it's how much attention I have to pay to it. If that makes sense. So I have had a lot of jobs where I have a high enough volume, I feel like I have a stable process, and then I find out I don't. But once I've gotten my process stable, it's either the same or going down from that point. It never goes up. The only time it ever goes up is if some element of the job changes. Different material from a different supplier. They change some dimensions on the print. They do a revision here or there. Like there's other things that can cause that complexity to jump back up. But I feel like it starts out the highest when it's a one part, and then it kind of, depending on how many parts it is and how complex it is, it'll always taper down at some point.
Yeah. Here's another thing that I was thinking about adding is adjusting tolerances relative to the size of the part. And I haven't quite figured out how to handle this, but if you have a part that's 48 inches long and there's a plus or minus 5 tolerance on that, like that's maybe not super easy to hit. But if you had a part that was 3/4 of an inch long with a plus or minus 5, like that's cake.
Yeah. So I would do that as some sort of a potential ratio. So at what point does 5 thou become hard to hit? At what size? And I would honestly just ask ChatGPT, the material growth of aluminum going a 10-degree swing. At what point does the temperature of 5 or 10-degree swing push it outside the tolerance range of 5 thou? And that might be my definition for whenever that range pushes it, divide it by 3, and that's when that value becomes considered a tight tolerance for that size material.
That's a good point.
And you can do that on a material basis. You could say, okay, aluminum is a lot more sensitive. Stainless might be a lot less. Steel might be somewhere in the middle. Plastic could be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things the new quoting system has is a database of materials. And by has, I mean will has, that include, it'll do some rough estimating for like bulk discounts. Because right now, the way Subtract calculates price on materials, we're gonna leak some proprietary info. We went to McMaster and we found a couple pieces of the material, and then we calculated dollars per cubic inch. And we did that with like the same 2 sizes of all material, and then averaged them. And is based on low quantities. And when we quote a job that requires a lot of pieces, we end up way too high because of our material. And so the new system has a, like, we're buying one little tiny piece off McMaster price, and it has a, this is the cheapest it's going to get at like quantity a million. And it does I think it's a logarithmic fit between the two. So the more quantity you get, it gets closer to the bottom one. And we'll have to adjust that occasionally based on market prices, which that I don't have any clue of how to do yet, but that's in the cards somehow.
Interesting. So you base everything off McMaster then?
Well, our current system is, yeah.
Yeah, that's really expensive.
It is sometimes, and sometimes it's not. Like if you are buying a piece of, you need a piece of aluminum that's 6 inches long, like, whatever. What are you going to do? Go buy a whole stick at Alro? Like,
true.
But yeah, if you're making 100 pieces, then it's going to be wildly high.
So this is the fun thing with AI these days. I just asked it that aluminum question about temperature. 38.5 inches long.
Is 5 thou?
Is 5 thou for a 10-degree swing.
Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Fahrenheit.
Wow. That is a lot shorter than I would have thought it would be.
So if you have a 10-degree swing on a piece, that's just over 3 feet, which is not crazy.
Nope.
In length. People can double check the, AI math on that, because I just asked ChatGPT that, but that's a lot shorter than I would think for a 5 thou swing.
Yeah. I have a friend who I really haven't talked to in a long time. He was a good friend in high school and college, but like, I don't know, he moved to wherever ULA is, and I don't remember that's the rocket company, right? That's not a school. Wait, are they both schools and rocket companies? Anyway, he went to go work for a rocket company and moved there, and I haven't really talked to him much. Anyway, he does welding for them. Like last I heard, he was like running their welding program, and they were doing these weldments out of titanium tubes that were like 60 feet long and had to be plus or minus 5 thou, which sounds like an absolute nightmare. Like, breathe on it and it's out of tolerance. Yeah. United Launch Alliance. That's ULA. I don't even know if he still works there or is still doing the same job, but yeah.
Okay. I have some more AI stuff that's kind of interesting.
Okay.
So for stainless steel, 304, it's 4.3 feet for a 5 thou swing.
Okay.
For carbon steel, it's 6.4. So like 1018.
Yeah.
6.4 feet. And for UHMW, it's 6 inches.
There's no way.
That's what it says. 6 inches for UHMW.
And that's definitely Fahrenheit.
That's Fahrenheit. 10 degrees in Fahrenheit change.
Huh. I wonder if I've not been taking that seriously enough on some of the plastic parts I've made.
I've cut some pretty big UHMW parts, so I'm a little bit going, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Most of my stuff is usually in that 6 inch range, but also most of my plastic stuff is plus or minus 15. So
yeah, most of my plastic stuff is really small, so
it should still be okay. But I would not have realized that it was that short compared to everything else. Like that's an order of magnitude shorter than the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention that, like, if you ship the part and it's warm outside or too cold outside, sometimes it gets delivered and it's like warped on you.
Yeah, that happened to me. I got dinged on Xometry back in the day because of that.
Yep.
Pretty bad.
I've shipped some pretty high tolerance peak stuff lately and like seriously considered packing it with dry ice.
Yeah.
No, who knows what that would do to the part too. So
Dylan did get an oven for like stress relieving annealing plastic. I haven't really heard anything about that since he's done that. I wonder how much of a difference that makes.
Actually, stress relieving probably is the term. I don't know. At the time he seemed pretty positive about it. I don't know if it's just like he hasn't talked about it much because it's not new and exciting anymore, and it's just part of his workflow.
It just works.
Or if he's doing it less, or if he's just not doing a lot of plastic. But high precision plastic rings have become my new thing. We were making little round plastic parts. Now we're making larger rings.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about Subtract and whatnot. I was trying to think.
So you have a business. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
I can shut up now.
No.
That one guy's in our comments is going to be really mad at us.
Yeah. No, you're fine. I mean, I found all the stuff we talked about Subtract to be fairly interesting, personally. So, for my own edification, if anything else.
At least one person enjoyed the podcast.
Yeah, I enjoyed my own podcast. So, no. So, going on in our world, we went down to Walther for a shop tour, and they have changed up their factory a lot since we were last there.
Huh. Like in what way?
Getting rid of equipment, bringing in new equipment, changing out processes. They did a real big push into lean for their assembly, and I was really impressed with that. And especially compared to how they were doing it before. So they are way more efficient now than they used to be in actually putting guns together. And I think like their output of guns per person like quadrupled. Like
That's
how many
impressive.
guns they could get out per person there. And it just made sense. And it was a really cool and robust system. But the cool thing the reason we went down there was to go meet a lot of people that we've been talking with and dealing with. And then me and Weston each got to assemble our own pistols at the factory that had parts on it that we were producing for Walther. And that was the coolest. Like that was the best part of it. And so we got to assemble them, and then we got to go fire them for the first time at the range to like make sure that everything worked. So
that is really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. So, and one thing I didn't know that Walther does that I guess not all manufacturers do, but it's a tradition that Walther does because I think he explained it that Walther used to had ties to making cannons or something. I don't remember exactly how it went, but basically whenever you would make a cannon, one of the things that they would do is they would load 130% powder compared to what they expected at most. And they would fire a couple shots like that to basically stress proof and make sure that the cannon wasn't going to
no boom.
Yeah. Make sure no boom. And so Walther does
general boom. You want specific boom, not general boom.
Yeah. And so Walther does that with all of their guns. Every gun that they sell, they have special ammunition that they get that is overcharged by 30%. And so before we could fire it, it had to go into a special box to make sure that nothing would blow up, and they would put overcharged ammunition in. And it was a 9mm, and I was standing next to the machine whenever it fired, and I have never felt that much force from a 9mm. Like I could tell that these were some really hot loads, and it honestly kind of surprised me and kind of shook. Like, it was a lot. So that was kind of cool, but like, yeah, it was also a little unexpected with how much force those overcharged rounds were pumping out. So, and then we got to shoot. So they did 2 overcharged shots, and then 5 with regular ammo, and they do that with every gun that they sell. So the overcharged ones are the first ones they do, and obviously it has to be special, and they won't let us hold the gun for that.
Yeah.
But for the after it passes that test, we do 5 more, and we can hand fire those 5. So
I wonder how often they find stuff with that.
So the guy who has been doing it, he said that he can tell from the overcharged shots if the gun is firing right. He's been doing it for 15 years, They said he's really good. He just does that every day nonstop. And they said, so you can hear it from the overcharge. And then when he fires it by hand, they said that they get a lot of feedback from him doing that as to if stuff's good or not. They said he catches a lot of stuff.
Interesting.
So, and they said that they didn't want to get a machine to fire the 5 hand shots because of how good he is at his job. Although we did joke that like going and shooting guns for him has to be the most boring thing ever because he goes through thousands of rounds a day or a week, firing all these guns.
Is he? Do you think he's like a really, really good shot?
No, because it's not going to be because of that. Because you're firing into like there's no target you're aiming for. You're just firing. You're just firing.
What's the point of that?
You're just firing into. So it's all inside a building, and so you're in an enclosed room. Like I couldn't hear that they were firing guns while I was doing a factory tour, and the range is literally right next to the assembly line, and so you have to go into this like steel enclosed room, and it's a really small room. I mean, we're talking like 2 office cubicles, and then you're firing into this. They call it what they call it. The snail body. It kind of curves around and catches the bullets, and then it's constantly spraying water mist in that area that you're firing through to kind of
keep the lead dust down.
Yeah, and they said it's designed to handle a 50 cal, and so they're like they can basically they can dump into it and it's not going to do anything. But like no target, like you're just firing into a bucket basically.
That's very disappointing.
So, into a really fancy bucket.
Yeah. Because can you imagine if you just stood there like all day, every day, just shooting at a target, how good you could get?
Well, that's what he said. He said, our number one position people want to go to is firing. And he said, it's the hardest one to keep people in. The guy that's been doing it for a long time, he said he's one of the only guys that has done it. He said everyone else that we've given to him, he said they last 3 weeks tops. And then
they get bored or
and
what?
then they want to do something else. So apparently that guy is very special because they've tried to have other people help him and they don't last. So, which is understandable. Like you're in a box and you're just guns are going off for all
bam,
day.
Bam, bam, bam.
Like he had like 3 layers of like headphones on to like sound deaden everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. No, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. Got to meet a lot of people that we're dealing with, and I'm hoping it means that there's more work that we're going to be able to get from them as we kind of build that relationship up. So, that was fun.
Good. It'd be cool someday if you could fire a gun that you made every single part of for him. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't think that'll ever happen because I don't do injection molds. So
yet.
I will say though, one thing I found out that I was kind of sad about is the Walther is discontinuing their PPK, like the James Bond gun.
Yeah,
which is really sad. So you heard it here first. If you want to get one,
now's your chance.
Now's your chance because they're gonna disappear.
And but they just said, if you own one, yours is going up in value.
Yeah, they said they might bring it back,
Special
down
editions.
The line. But it's been made the same way for over 100 years, and it's really expensive and hard to make. And they want to modernize it if they bring it back, when they do, because it was designed and. It was designed basically before CNC machines were a thing. So, like, its manufacturing process is very convoluted.
Yeah.
So, but sad. But especially because I was making parts for that gun and I didn't know that we weren't going to be making any more until that tour. So
it is sad.
So, yeah, they said that their PR team did not handle it very well. because a lot of the shops that were making parts for them found out on like Instagram or Facebook, like posts that the gun was going out of production, and they're like, "What?" So
It's not the PR team's fault, but
yeah, not good communication with the shops that were making lots of parts on a regular basis for those parts. Which is crazy because we just got done doing a run of parts for that gun 3 months ago. So
yeah,
we didn't know. So, and honestly, we didn't know until that tour. We didn't, follow their Facebook page or anything like that to like see the announcement. So that was kind of frustrating, but is what it is.
How's Milo doing?
Great. He finished up a job, and so last week he didn't run at all. And so I've got jobs that he could run, but doesn't need to run. And so last week we actually had last week we were planning on running Milo, but on Saturday I got an email from one of my customers with a massive purchase order. It said, "We need all these parts by Thursday next week. Make it your highest priority item." And with us basically being gone one day for our trip down to Walther, that took that rush period and made it even shorter.
Even shorter, yeah.
And so basically all last week, we were hustling to get that order out the door. And it was, how many parts was it? I want to say it was close to 100 parts. And it was a lot.
Of the same part?
No.
100 different designs?
No, there was like 10 different parts. So it's like
okay,
quantity 10, but like 10 quantity 10s, kind of. So like there was a lot of like programming this while running this, while cutting material for that, while ordering material. We had to order a bunch of stuff through McMaster, and it was supposed to come next day, and it came 2 day. So that put even more pressure.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to come the day we were at Walther, and it didn't show up until the next day. And so we were stressing out hard. And I still cannot believe we made it. Like, I was thinking I was going to have to work all night. And we ended up working till about 8 or 9 o'clock every night, but still got everything done without having to do like a overnight thing. So
that's good.
And I had to push a couple customers' parts back a day or two, but thankfully it wasn't a big deal. So, and then the other problem with that is that because they wanted everything rushed, they had a different order that was really big that was supposed to be due on Monday, tomorrow. But we told them that it's going to have to go back to Tuesday because we had to rush, basically lost a week to their rush order.
Yeah.
So, and they're understanding, but also they want their parts. And it's like, you said in your email, prioritize this above everything else. So I don't know what you want me to do.
Buy another machine.
Yeah. So
anyways, how many of those could have been Datron food?
None of them.
Okay.
Well, I say that technically 2 of them, so 20 parts could have. The only problem is the way I'm doing them. They have drilled and tapped holes on the side, and I'm using a vacuum plate in the 5th axis, and I'm rotating and getting those tapped holes.
Yeah.
So it could be done on the Datron, but it would still have to touch another machine.
Yep.
So
I posted something, and I think the Taps and Patience Discord, about tabbing off some parts that I was working on, and Dylan taught me his ways of like the offset triangular tab system and how he programs that. And I think I have ran every single part since then using that method.
Oh, I might have to ask him about that.
I was thinking about doing a video on it. I might try to get him involved in the video if he's interested, since it is his method that he just showed me.
Yeah.
But I've been doing that a lot. Probably on parts where I should just make them in soft jaws, but I don't know.
So we had that last week, and that pretty much those 2 things pretty much took the majority of last week. I had a lot planned for last week, and that kind of threw everything into chaos.
Yep.
So
they happen sometimes.
But coming up, I have two kind of major things kind of coming up. I have a trip to Japan where I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. And then my brother, and I'm going to go visit Matsura. And then my brother is getting married next month. So,
who is not Weston?
Who's not Weston? Yeah, Weston has kids.
I was thinking, he already did the marriage thing.
Yeah, okay. he's already got a wife and kids.
I'm here. I remember these things. I think of Weston as your brother, even though I know he's your cousin.
Everyone thinks of him. I mean,
yeah,
we'll accept it at this point. We accept it. So, but yeah, so we'll have to figure out what's going on with the podcast while I'm gone, because I probably won't be able to do it, but you'll have to have a guest or something on.
Yeah, we can manage that. Jacob's had enough practice of figuring out how to podcast with me gone. I think we can figure out how to podcast with you gone.
So now he can do an overlay where he looks like me.
Yes. And write a song about it.
Yeah.
Jacob.
Speaking of patrons, is it that time?
Wow. Harrison's transitioning. You want to read the names too?
Not particularly, because last time I got some people's wrong.
It's okay. I get people's wrong every time. Though Niddles30 did compliment me on my pronunciation.
Who
pronunciation of Niddles.
Oh.
So Patreons, they get access to the Taps and Patience Patreon, which is a super cool place to be. There's a lot. Speaking of good machining community, that's still, I think, one of the better ones on the internet. If you know of a better one, tell me. But I think it's pretty darn good. Subtract was basically born out of that Patreon. We hired Jacob out of that Patreon. We did not hire Intern, who is Tall Jacob, by the way. I don't know if we said that. We have Tall Jacob and Average Jacob. Average Jacob does not agree to this naming system, but Tall Jacob is okay with it. But yeah, so if you join any paid tier, you get access to that. You can also join at a free tier and get access to our weekly Q&A, or you can also pay for that, but you don't have to. And we'll get to our Q&A shortly. All of our Patreon money right now is going to IMTS and getting us there, maybe paying for a hotel or two, maybe very expensive, not a parking ticket, parking. Yeah, just parking. That's what you call it when you pay for parking. Our new Patreon, or we have a new Patreon, Dalton. Thank you, Dalton. We appreciate you. And then our $10 a month or more Patreons are Brian B, Jacob S, Chris at CDS Plastic, John S, Alexander, no, not Alexander, just Alex H, but he probably is an Alexander, Avery M, Chris B at Puda Creek Precision, Josh at Lane Machine, Millen Y, Devin C, Alex at Mill City Roasters. I got a new espresso machine. It was $125 on Facebook Marketplace because it had a leak. I had to just take the leak, or I just had to take a hose and put it back on a nipple, and it no longer leaks. And it's like a $1,500 espresso machine new, and it's so much better than my old one. And now Alex should send me more coffee. Christian O, Stephen M, Horse Pulverizer Incorporated, Daniel R, James at Moultrie Made, Ryan at Stratum Manufacturing, Kyle at Kursk Machine, Devin at Sinister Machine Works, Greg at Frogtown Manufacturing, James N, Ben at Prickly Pear Prototypes, Cam S, Shep at Alderson Prototyping, Jacob at Zona Precision, Jason S, Joshua H, Christian Z, Freaky Climber, Prescott at 1Z 2Z Systems, Trey V, Alexander B, Scott Designed the Everything, Jamie at JSpec Engineering, Chris at Zyke Precision, EJ at Nocturnal Welding, Chris at Thought Bomb Design, and as ever, Jake Brownson. I think we might have to do something here in the near future, which is up the price of getting your name read off, because it's getting a little ridiculous.
Or we just need to record it once and just have it play at the end.
No, we don't do that here.
We don't do that here. Hey, that's lean. That's lean.
No. This is the value that we're offering. The value is the personalization of me not being able to say your name.
Yeah, the value is that when people go back to listen to it, they go, "Was I in that list?"
Yeah. Or you find out 6 weeks later that who was it? It wasn't Avery, Jacob. There was somebody whose name that I read wrong over and over and over again. Wait, was it Josh? Was it Josh that is now part of Subtract? Was I calling him Jason? I think it was. Or maybe it was a different, I don't know. There was somebody I was calling Jason whose name was not Jason.
Yeah.
Maybe they were right below Josh. And like it's Josh at Leighton Machine. And I think I was Josh and Leightoning to become Jayton.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how to become Jason. Anyway, Niddles 30, whose name I can say, unlike that sentence. Will Toolpath survive without Justin?
Yeah, that news just blew me away.
Did you actually watch his video? Because I did not watch it with audio, so I don't know what he said.
He basically said that he is no longer with Toolpath, and he didn't elaborate beyond that that I could tell. And I reached out to him right afterwards, and I was just kind of like, hey, how are things going?
He probably got a lot of that.
Yeah, and so, hope everything goes good. So, I mean, it's pretty fresh. I don't think he really knows what he's doing for his next step, but all the love and support for Justin. I don't know what's going on, so I can't speculate one way or another. Yeah. I hope that whatever the reasoning is, it's healthy for all parties involved.
Yeah, I have guesses. I'm not going to guess publicly, but I'm sure it was on good terms. Like Justin's too good of a guy. Nobody would want him to leave, and I don't think he would leave for with any negative reasons.
He is still
Justin. Subtract. We can't pay you, but we would really like your help if you have free time. So if you want to work for free,
he is still planning on going to the Instant Machinists meetup. So he did say that. So
and the ski trip.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The ski trip.
Okay.
So
and I'm sure he'll be at IMTS.
Yeah, I'm sure he will too. So will it survive without Justin? I hope. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't think that if one company hinges on one person, that's poor systems.
Yeah.
In general. Now, what do I think Toolpath will be hurt without Justin? I think they will in the short term, definitely. But I think they've got a strong enough foundation that they will survive. And I hope both Toolpath and Justin continue to grow in their respective fields.
Yeah. The question isn't will it survive? It's will it maintain its soul?
Yes.
And I think it still will, but because they got Al, they got Pete,
One Year Tim,
they have Rebecca. Is that her name?
Maybe.
Used to be with Practical Machinist. Like they'll be all right. They've got a great team over there.
All I got to say is 1 Year Tim needs to stay there because I got to challenge him again to cornhole because he was
the grand champion.
Yeah, because we beat him last time. And I'm told he's very competitive, so we gotta do another round.
Did you ever get that thing from Air Turbine Tools?
No, we talked about that the other day. Me and Weston, we need to. We did get Cool Speed though, so the one that's powered through, the one powered by coolant. So
are they a competitor? It's on a brand name of Air Turbine Tools.
They're kind of, and they're a cheaper version that works with coolant.
Okay.
And I found out that our Haas coolant pumps need more volume. Like we're using it. It works. It does fine. But I think the air version would be stronger. But the big advantage of the coolant driven one is that we can also stick it in our lathe, which we are probably going to end up having to do.
That is nice. Yeah.
So
build it and they will come or buy when the need presents itself. Dylan at Got Chips.
I do not agree with either of those. Personally,
just don't do anything.
No. I think you need to do research because if there is no demand and you just go out and you buy something, you're going to be screwed. And if you wait till there's enough demand where you need it, you're also going to be screwed. You need to know, you need to try to get a machine when you have 40 to 60% of its capacity that you can fill up pretty quick. That's my philosophy.
So be intentional. Harrison's philosophy.
Yes. Like if you just build it and they will come works if you know there is a market for it.
Yeah.
And so I'm probably leaning closer to that. But if you build it and you don't know if there's a demand for it, you're going to be screwed.
Yeah, like let's just say starting subtract. Like, is that a build it and they will come? I mean, yeah. Like Audacity had a little bit of business running through it, but like I don't know, that was pretty much all in terms of the guaranteed revenue that we had for subtract.
But if you brought in if you signed on 50 shops before you had any customers,
exactly. Yeah.
You know, you'd start having a lot of upset shops.
And we knew that there's people who need parts. Like that's a pretty given thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if I have much, like, if it's build it and it's just your time, sure. If it's get a loan on it, no, don't do that. If it's something that like you're just spending your time on, I'm more okay with build it and they will come. If it's like tying up a major amount of capital, then yeah, be a little bit more careful.
I mean, I'm the definition of like buying a whole bunch of stuff really fast, which honestly has its own struggles. I mean, it really does. There's definitely times where if sales take a dip for a month, it can make things pretty tight,
stressful, yeah.
And stressful. But by the same token, a lot of the customers we have today we wouldn't have had without some of that equipment. But we bought that equipment kind of in combination with getting the customers. So,
Bennett Prickly Pear Prototypes, most exotic material you have worked with. Haimu 80 was my fun exotic material. I don't know what that is. Better than Lomu.
Mokum, Timascus, stuff like that.
I've done Maycore, but that wasn't particularly difficult or exotic. I did like PPSU or something like that. I don't know. I guess I haven't done anything too much or too crazy. I haven't even touched any of like the nickel super alloys yet.
Yeah. I mean, the hardest material I've had to work with so far was the, and this is hardest in both sense, was the 50 HRC material that we're kind of running production parts on.
I did 62 Rockwell for the Crayola parts, the ones that went miserably. But that actually really wasn't that bad. Well, let me rephrase that. Cutting it wasn't that bad. They warped like crazy, but cutting it wasn't terrible. I don't know. I really haven't done that much in weird materials. Lots of plastics. I've cut basically every plastic, but mostly I end up with stupid geometries out of normal materials.
Okay.
What is your favorite supplier / company you do business with, McMaster?
Not Ryerson.
Not
Ryerson.
Oh, that's yours. Yeah. I thought you were surprised that I didn't like Ryerson.
No. Mine is not Ryerson. There's a lot that I like, but I can tell you the one I don't like is Ryerson.
When I was working at the cash register company, we would occasionally do business with Ryerson, and they were awful.
Yeah. So like every time I've ordered from Ryerson, I've almost never gotten it in the time frame that they said they will get it to me in, and the quantities are whatever they feel like giving us. So if I ask for 2,000 parts, I might get 1,800. I might get 1,900. I might get 1,600. I honestly don't know. I mean, I could eventually get up to 2,000, but I might have to place another order. So, and I have no idea when it's coming in. But my favorite one to work with, I mean, it depends on what material you're doing. Like, I have different, like if I'm doing plastics.
Material supplier was never specified.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I can do a couple more. I like working with Toolpath. I've worked with Toolpath a lot. I've liked working with Tormach. Tormach's been great with my machine.
Haas.
Like in terms of support and stuff.
Haas?
I've never really worked with Haas.
Specifically Philips as a HFO. They are both for the machines and for our robot. They are phenomenal. So I've really enjoyed working with Philips specifically. Not so much Haas, but Philips.
We have a lot of vendors on the subtract list that I like working with. Kyle, podcast episode a couple ago. Kyle's really good shop for us. Dylan got chips. He's really good for us.
Uh,
Not the company I used to buy Qualichem from.
yeah. I mean, some of our suppliers like Kennametal and Sumitomo, they've been really good. Like if we want to try something, getting us sample stuff, they're real quick to answer the phone and answer questions and help us through things. So I've really liked working with them. Who else? I mean, there's it's only like the really bad ones that stand out like as like stuff that I don't enjoy. All the other ones, they're either, they're good or they're just okay, or I haven't really run into a problem with them yet. But the ones that go above and beyond, Philips is my top. And then underneath that would be Sumitomo and Kennametal. Both their reps are really good. Yeah. Everything else is just kind of meh. Not good.
I feel like there's probably some people that do deserve shout outs that I'm not thinking of at the moment.
I'm sure there is for me as well. I really like the salesman at Black Hawk. They're one of our vendor or suppliers. But the actual company Black Hawk, whenever we order stuff, not as much. Like the main sales guy is awesome. He is super friendly, super nice guy, comes by the shop all the time. But then when we place orders and we deal with his people, I think they're used to dealing with much bigger shops. And we've had some problems here and there with them because of that.
The guys over at Obsidian. Obsidian is the note-taking software that we use. Note-taking is the wrong word. It's almost like an internal Wikipedia. We had some weird issues that I caused, and we were able to talk to the president of the company who fixed it for us. He was a really nice guy, and they had a good kind of community group there, like good Discord.
We don't have a Datron yet, but dealing with Datron, at least on the sales side, has been really nice because they test ran some parts for us, and they've been really diligent and communicating with us. So I don't have any of their equipment yet, but just dealing with the sales guy I've been dealing with he's been super awesome to work with.
And that was Nick and Nick's Co. If I didn't say that out loud, so thank you, Nick. Freaky Climber for Harrison. For Harrison, what are the brands of tools you are using for the lathes? OD, ID turning, part off grooving, roughing versus finishing, etc.
So Sumitomo and Kennametal are kind of the main two. We do some Haas. We have some Iskar. And then for some of our micro tools, we have Micro 100 for solid carbide. And kind of the pro and con of Sumitomo and Kennametal, and I wouldn't mind trying other brands, but whenever we were doing this 50 HRC turning job, we asked Sumitomo and Kennametal to send us over some inserts that they would recommend. And I got 6 or 9 different inserts from both of them of quantity 1 or 2 to try out. And they're okay, here's a range of different ones, different geometries, different grades, different, chip breakers. And it was just it was the volume of inserts that we got to sample was so large, it was almost a pain. It was can you narrow this list down for me? And we tried a bunch of them, and some of them were good, some of them weren't. We ended up finding one that we liked. I think one of them was a Sumitomo and one of them was a Kennametal. I think we ended up with 1 and 1 for different inserts for different parts of the part. But yeah, it was a large volume of inserts just from them two that I didn't really try anyone else because it was just too much to go through. But both their reps are super helpful.
Nice.
And then Iskar, we had a part off tool from them, and it's been pretty good. It's a really funky geometry though. It's really weird geometry. And it screams sometimes. It's either dead silent or screaming banshee. I think I talked about that one whenever we tried it out. There's no middle ground. It is either whisper quiet or banshee. But I would like to try some of the boring bars that are like tuned to like not vibrate. But unfortunately, you have to get up to a certain bore size before those become doable. And most of our stuff has been relatively small. But I would like to try them at some point.
Because they have some like not like electronics or anything, but they have some sort of mechanical damper
Like
inside there.
Mass tuned damper, I think is what most of them are. So
I've always assumed it was like a weight floating in oil or something, but that's 100% in my head.
I don't know for sure what it is, but it's some sort of a mass tuned damper of some kind. And they just seem really cool. I really want to try some.
Yeah.
But
it's better than just like sticky tack to it, which is what I do sometimes when I get parts that chatter when I'm using my not a fifth axis.
I think the biggest boring bar we have is like a 1/2-inch boring bar, and we don't use it very often.
Yeah.
So I think 3/8 and smaller is what we use 90% of the time. And I don't think they make anti-vibration ones that small. So we do have a couple carbide ones that we got in that size over, and we had high-speed steel originally, or some sort of steel, and we switched to carbide. Which, one thing that ticks me off about boring bars is they always come in and like even like a 1/2-inch or not a 1/2-inch, like a 1/4-inch boring bar or 3/16 boring bar. It'll be 6 inches long, and it's like I'm not sticking it out that long. And
cut it up, get it down. They're supposed to be cut down.
Yeah, well, that's fine when it's high speed. It's a pain in the butt when it's carbide.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Because I've had to like basically shatter the back end of carbide boring bars and just hope that it doesn't like crack all the way down, trying to shorten them up.
Yeah.
And like I've taken grinders to them, and that carbide's tough stuff. So it is a pain in the butt.
I forgot about a job that I did that we haven't talked about. So the theme of, was this last week or 2 weeks ago? I don't remember. I had a week where the theme of the week was stupid tapped holes that are way too deep. And one of the jobs, the parts there was like 6 variations of the same thing, and they kept getting like a 1/4 inch longer. And they had 256 holes that went all the way through them. And the longest one was a 32nd over an inch, like 1.032 or whatever that is. And so I would tap them as deep as I could in the machine. So like a 1/2 inch or whatever deep in the machine. And then I had a hand tap and a drill that I was, chasing the rest of the threads with. And as the parts got longer, I would just take the drill with the tap in it over to my bench grinder and like turn it on and hold it against the bench grinder to relieve it. And you should see what this tap looks like. 256, a little over an inch deep, not expertly ground, but that thing made it for every single part. I think it did like 32 holes or something like that. And it's this like spindly monstrosity.
So that's how we used to thread relief a lot of our taps, was just hit manually on a grinder, and we'll still do that every once in a while. But I found out that one of my local machine shops that I'm really good friends with the owner, he has some manual lathes. He will turn down, like, as long as they're not carbide, the taps on the lathe, he'll relieve them. And after I've done that once, like anytime I need a long reach tap, I will go to him and I'll be like, please take this tap.
That's a good idea. I probably could have done that at school.
And turn down, make the shoulder larger. And when I get it back, it's like awesome.
Yeah. Mine was very much not straight. It was kind of wonky, which just ruins your strength. And I don't know. I think I just kind of got lucky that I didn't break it.
Yeah. I've had one that I like turned down, and I swear it was a sine wave.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And those always stress me out whenever I use them like that.
Yep. I had the one thing going for me is these were basically just like standoffs. They were Ultim standoffs. They had to be threaded all the way through for some reason that I cannot explain. And
what material
so
were
they
you?
were cheap and easy to make.
What material were you doing those long tapped holes in?
Ultim.
Oh, Ultim. Okay.
Yeah, I do a lot of Ultim. Ultim and Peak have been my main two materials recently.
Yeah, because
mostly rings.
Whenever I'm doing deep holes, it's always in stainless.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have taken this job if it was stainless. Inch and a 30-second. Oh, a little over an inch threads, 256 in stainless. No, hard out for me. But in Ultim, I'm stupid enough to try to take that job.
So there's a part that one of my customer does. It stresses me out every single time I do it, and it's only quantities of like 1 to 3 at most. Thank goodness. But it's always like an M4 or M5 tapped hole that's like 2 inches deep.
Yeah.
And the part has thin walls where the tap is 20 thou from breaking out on either side.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
And I figured out that I have to tap that hole before I
mill the sides.
Because otherwise it'll heat up and work hard in the material and it'll just shatter. But
I've had parts like that before.
It stresses me out every single time. And I've looked for thread mills. I can't find a thread mill that can go that deep for that size, because I would thread mill it 100%, but I can't reach the bottom of the freaking hole with any thread mill, because it would be like a 12 or 20 times thread mill.
Yeah. I used to be really afraid of rigid tapping, and now with the Tormach, I do it all the time. And it does peck tapping just fine. I was rigid peck tapping these holes at like 3,000 RPM, 256. No problem.
Yeah. It was funny. I rigid tap on the Haas all the time. And at one point I had played with a setting where on retract, there's a multiplier for how much faster you can retract. So like if you go in at 100 RPM, you could have like retract at 200. So a times 2 multiplier, or 400 at times 4. Well, by default, I think it's times 2. And I kicked it up to times 4. And that was fine until I got to small taps, like M3 or smaller. I started breaking taps constantly. And so that's when we started getting a whole bunch of thread mills, and we started thread milling that was anything smaller than M3. And then I changed that setting back to a 2, and knock on wood, I haven't had a problem since. So
you were breaking taps because you were being impatient?
Yes, I was. I know. It's almost like I have a podcast that's named something about that. Taps and impatience.
Well,
that should have been the name.
That's the sign that it's the end of the episode.
That should have been the name of the podcast. Taps and impatience.
Taps and impatience. Yeah, that's like our After Dark spinoff.
So
we just need breaking taps to go under or something so we can use his name.
No, he just needs to change names.
Yeah, someone go break his kneecaps or something. Sorry, no. He's such a nice guy. That was a terrible thing to say.
Well, I mean, most of his stuff isn't necessarily machining. It's all this science and like experiments and stuff. It's like, come on, do something with that.
Well, and it kind of sounds like he's gotten out of some of the machining stuff, because he apparently just moved, and I think he sold off most of his equipment.
Really?
So I was actually going to offer to put Subtract at his beck and call.
Yeah.
Like, we'll make you parts. You put us in a video. Win-win.
Well, I wish I'd known that. I wonder what he sold his med center for. If he's still...
I don't know. And I don't actually know what he sold her. But in his video, he made it sound like he doesn't have a shop. Maybe it's temporary, but...
I'll have to go watch one of his videos. I haven't seen it in a while. So, was it a YouTube video or was it like on Instagram?
Yeah, okay. It was a YouTube video.
Fair enough. Well,
sorry for telling people to go break your kneecaps.
Yeah, he's not going to give me a good price now if I want it. If he still has
It's
it.
like the mafia version of our podcast.
Yeah.
Kneecaps and patience.
All right, you ready?
Yep, we've gone off the rails.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm tired, which means it's time to go.
Stupid daylight savings.
Yeah. So thanks for hanging out with us on this episode of Taps and Patience. If you liked or learned anything, please like, subscribe, and tell a friend, a neighbor, a stranger on the internet. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week.
Taps and patience, our daily grind. In this machine shop, we'll always find joyous struggles, all intertwined. Taps and patience, one of a kind.
We really don't advocate violence normally.